come out, and that's the city contract with them. That's what the county's talking about.
Hey, we're down. You're good?
Yeah.
Good. Hey, Audie.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good?
Good. Good.
Good.
Trustees.
Well, yeah. And
I'm David. David, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
that's
what we're on Saturday.
Ooh.
There's access right up off of Roseland Road, and I think you got that.
Yeah,
Yeah, because you were up there when Brant was up there.
yeah.
And his dad just had a
And I don't
fire.
think we'll get to that.
My dad was working the pump side, and he didn't see my finger was clear.
I didn't cut it off.
No, it was just, it fractured the top of it.
Well,
They don't stop.
They don't, no, they don't, yeah, there's no,
I'm-
nothing that'll stop that. The glove didn't do anything, that's for
We
sure.
got different things, I'm guessing.
We're having difficulties.
Fortunately, it could always be worse.
Absolutely.
What's that?
Can't go.
Have you been?
I'm like, oh,
Good.
go try to get prime again.
Like the cold, the cold's winning. So survive.
Yeah, I think half of our,
After Audie
families
said
had
that,
something. It's
I probably did.
It's that season.
Yes.
we were playing really well until Audie. Well,
How did this mean?
Did you,
Well,
where's that all this stuff?
depends on which way.
No,
second one was definitely better.
Second one was definitely better.
Okay.
One thing I want to establish today, we've got, Jim Kimber will not be here, his dad's back in the hospital.
Steve won't be here.
Steve won't be here because he's out of town. John has let me know he won't be here.
Wow.
Rob is gonna try to make it, but it's okay.
So
So,
it's just two of us.
Yes.
You're not officially
No.
on the commission.
no, so,
You are,
I've
right?
been alternate.
Yeah.
yeah, well, you're not anymore.
Yeah.
You took the place.
They're not smart
Yeah.
enough not to.
Yeah. And, but anyway, what I want to do today, probably see. The most important thing, they decide to review these.
I'm gonna turn it on
Yeah.
now.
Okay, anytime you're ready.
It's either my turn.
That's what she said. And that was last year, you said I got yours.
You're on.
We are on, okay, welcome everybody to the, October 30th, 2025, Hocking County Zoning Commission. We are here today, with some of the zoning commission members. We've got one out, due to illness, couple out that's been rescheduled. I'll thank you. Anyway, before you have, to get started here, you have, the minutes for last month. The agenda says June, but it's the September minutes. And give yourselves a chance to quick look at that, and I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes as presented. Okay.
We don't have to make motions without a quorum. We don't really have a quorum.
There isn't anything that even sets the quorum. I'll let you go by Robert's Rules of Order.
Okay.
And
Okay,
so I don't know,
okay.
but we'll go through the motions. If we have to redo it, we will.
Okay.
But yes, just between you two.
I guess I'm gonna second that.
Okay.
Thank goodness.
Okay, yeah, thank goodness. Okay. We have also before you, an agenda of today's meeting.
Motion to approve.
Okay, motion to approve the agenda. Okay. I want to quickly review some comments that we've received since our meeting on the 15th. Let's see here. We've had some contact from first responders. What's the difficulties that they've had recently? I don't know that I want to read through all this, but they're available and copies are available. But received a letter, and this was a review, well, it was sent to me on the 17th. I think this is Assistant Fire Chief went out, looked at a short-term rental that they had received a complaint from a renter. And it talked about one of the items of concerns was they could not get a hold of an owner. He was a retired engineer, so he noticed some things that maybe most people would not notice, but Assistant Fire Chief said after walking through, advised the renter that if he would message the owner and advise the fire department and confirm that there were no smoke detectors present, that those needed to be brought into compliance. The home was heated with propane gas. There's no CO2 detectors there. These are all established National Fire Code requirements. But the fact that we don't have any oversight on this one makes it tough. I'm working to make sure these owners are recorded and documented so they can address those issues. The few things that was pointed out was a printer missing an electrical cover on a box on a porch, extension cords that were running appliances on the outside, no CO2 detectors, even though there's gas, heat, water, and a cooking stove and dryer that all run by gas. One extinguisher in a box in the basement, and they had to go look for that. So, you know, these are things that she wanted to point out to me, and that she had just done that inspection, I think the day after our last meeting on October 15th, are some of the things and concerns that they've run into. And I think it's good to note that that these are the kind of things that we've heard since our very first meetings with the public. The owner, it is an out-of-town owner. I don't know, did we decide he's in Cleveland, or I'm not sure where he is, or did they even? Owner being from up in northern Ohio. Yeah, this owner just recently added another cabin on, according to Josh. Also got some letters supporting the fact that they are completely concerned about some things that they've seen in their neighborhood and are definitely in support of what we're doing. Well, let me just quickly read. Quick note to thank you for attempting to establish short-term rental regulations. I watched some meeting last night. I wanted to let you know Hocking County residents are behind you. Live on Smith Chapel. Have witnessed house after house being built only to be turned into an Airbnb. I'd love it if my kids would one day afford a property on their own in Hocking County, but I can't see that happening when they're competing with large corporations. Please don't let the Airbnbs change your agenda from the people that actually live in Hockey County. We support what you're doing. Please bring some sanity to this real madness. Another one here, I watched this was the October 7th meeting. And while I understand, I want to thank you for dedicating your time and effort to the discussion of short-term rentals. I know this is not an easy task, but truly appreciate the work you're doing to try to balance the needs of residents, businesses, and the future of Hockey County. Watched the October 7th meeting. While I understand why lodging owners are protective of their businesses, the tone of that discussion felt one-sided and at times dismissive of the concerns of residents. It came across as less a collaborative conversation and more as pressure on the board. That only reinforced to me how important it is that these residents' voices are protected and heard. Tourism has certainly brought visibility and activity to our county, but has also created challenges for many of us who live here full time. Property values and taxes have risen dramatically, making it harder for local families to stay in the area. Affordable housing is scarce. Many of the jobs tied to tourism are seasonal or low wage. Without careful regulation, Hocking County risks becoming less viable for the very people who call it a home year round. That's why I respectfully urge you to hold all STRs to the same standards without exceptions or grandfathering. Fairness and consistency will help ensure safety, accountability, and balance for everyone. Keep in mind that the largest employees here are the Logan Hockey Schools and Hocking Valley Community Hospital, not tourism. Our county's strength lies in its residents, families, and the people who contribute to the community every single day. Hope you will continue your important work and the confidence that many residents silently support. And fair regulations, please do what is best to keep Hocking County affordable, livable, and a place where both families and business can thrive.
Those are refreshing.
Well, I only share those just to say that there's many facets and many sides to this conversation.
Mhm.
It's not just us and the short-term rental owners.
Mhm.
It's us, it's first responders, it's township trustees. It's the average person that lives here.
And I've reminded people, like, I have no leg in the game other than I want to see my children one day own property in Hocking County, and right now that doesn't look possible.
Yeah.
I'm not against short-term rentals,
No.
that's not why I joined this committee, I just want to see the county improve.
Yeah,
For selfishly for my own children and for those that live here now.
right.
You know, I've obviously seen lots of comments on Facebook.
Oh, sure.
I'm not in office, I'm volunteering my time here the last 3 years. And so those are refreshing.
Well, and here's one from Chief Mallinger, and it was sent to you, Mr. Litt. Following our recent discussion regarding the effect of tourism on public safety services in Hocking County, a review of the Logan Police Department's CAD data shows that in fiscal year 2024, approximately 50% of all calls for service were directly related to tourism.
Who was that from?
Police Chief. To improve the accuracy and efficiency of future reporting, we're planning to implement a specific clearance code within our CAD system that allow officers to directly identify and link calls for service related to tourism activity enhancement. Will streamline our data retrieval for vocal precise tracking of tourism's impact on public services moving forward. I hope this is helpful to you and the county commissioners as you continue to assess and plan for service demands related to tourism growth. So again, I only bring these up to say that there's various players involved here, and various players we have heard from February of 2023.
I think we should be fair to say that obviously there were a lot of letters who came from short-term rental owners too, in support with the other position. So I just want to make sure that
Yeah,
that's brought up. There were
No, I can get letters.
quite a few.
We can get
I mean, I just want that to be public. I want everybody to see that there were these messages who came. Some of those must have come directly to you because I
They
didn't see
did.
some of those.
they came to our office. Yeah,
But there also were quite a few emails who came from owners who are concerned about some of the regulations. So just to be,
I
to
appreciate
be
you sharing
balanced.
that
So
though, because I feel like I take care of that.
yeah.
Thank you.
So I just wanted to share that. You know, we've got a chore. We've got an industry. We've got a tourism industry that's very viable. is very important. We recognize that. We've received a lot of comments about the specifics of the regulations. And I've gotten a lot of copies, for an example, one from the High Realtors Association. It requires most of the same things, even more strictly than what we're currently proposing. So that's just to get all that out. Anything else you want to share, Scott? You did it, okay. And you've heard anything else, Michael, that you'd like to say to that?
It's been an exciting few weeks.
Yeah.
I can share, I have quite a bit of notes from someone I spoke to over the, one week ago now, specifically about the impact fee, because I feel like that's what I'm hearing a lot of, is that we're getting bombarded with taxes, the state appraisal just happened, or is happening, so people are feeling.
Now, is this a private individual or?
They own a short-term rental.
Okay.
Yeah, and so they're feeling very burdened. And I
Well,
think there's a
do
lot
they
of,
understand the proposed impact fee is not for anything existing?
It doesn't impact.
no, that's good to know though.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so as a small property owner who operates a short-term rental, I'm concerned that the proposed impact fee ordinance places an unfair financial and administrative burden on homeowners like myself. The ordinance groups small owner-operated rentals with large commercial developments, potentially requiring us to pay high impact fees and infrastructure costs that could make it impossible to sustain our property. Without clear exemptions or predictable standards, this policy could discourage local investment and harm Hocking County tourism economy.
Mhm.
And that's kind of what I've been hearing from
Yeah.
some people. So
Well-
I just wanted to,
Unfortunately, the impact fee, part of the recommendation, or part of the proposal in this, you'll notice it's not in the short-term rental document. It's a separate part. It's meant to be for a large development that comes in. It's meant to be not for the, if you've got an individual that's developing some cabins and they have to put in their own infrastructure, that's not going to affect them. Those types of things won't even apply to them.
More meant for gas stations.
It's more meant for like a gas station coming in and like what we're
Manufacturers.
manufacturers.
we haven't gone into that section yet.
No, we haven't.
So
We have not.
I just.
And in fact,
yeah.
since you brought that up, I'll let you know that we are currently looking at setting up a meeting with the county auditor on even the feasibility of the impact fee. We need to get some things wrangled out from a legal standpoint even before we go into that. But primarily, that would not, I don't want to say it would never, but it would not involve a new short-term rental business unless they were to come in and develop some huge complex. Yeah. And like the gas station that you mentioned, Michael, we've got a situation where there has been services extended to them. And so that's an additional burden on existing systems that are in place. And so that's the idea behind that.
So the fee is not for existing, it is for new. Okay.
And most likely won't, for most short-term rentals, most likely will not apply.
Abe, do you?
That fee is, that $50 fee is, that he's talking about, this
The
is a
permit
separate
fee.
ordinance that they're talking
Permit
Yeah,
fees.
okay.
Yeah, there'll still be a permit fee. Yeah, there'll be we're proposing a $50 registration fee
That everybody.
that everybody will pay. Yeah. The impact fee has to do with, for an example, in this particular case, we've got a new business coming in that's adding outflow to an existing county-owned sewer treatment system. Are they grabbing water from someplace? No. So,
Water, I think water's from the city.
and water's gonna be from the city. So see, those are uses that are of some volume that can have an impact on the county and the city's infrastructure. So that's what those impact fees are meant to be. So, okay, well, I think if nothing else, we'll move on. We've got a list of things that, and I went ahead and put
We need some.
yeah, put those lists in a little larger font. And Gabe, would you like to take lead on this?
So I just want you to know, Gabe, that I listened and I recorded your comments, okay?
Yeah, and I mean, I still see plenty of these things that haven't been addressed.
These were just from our.
I know, I'm just saying, but I think there was some confusion somewhere along the lines that this was an old draft or something, but the latest draft that we have referred to is still the October 7th. So I just want to get that out there, and then, you know,
Yep, that's still
we
the latest.
proposed some stuff, you know,
Yeah.
and I don't see any changes that we put forward.
No changes have been made, but we were waiting to hear from you.
So with, okay, let me,
We just got this
we
list
want to-
yesterday.
you want, I sent that list on the day after, I believe.
You sent a list from not HHLOA.
It's the same thing.
The list you provided before
Oh, okay.
was a lengthy.
We've sent lists. You asked for
We
the
got,
hold on. You asked for the responses.
Yeah.
I sent 20 pages worth of them.
Right.
A compilation.
I've got all those.
And then you asked for suggestions. We sent suggestions. You asked for win-win. We sent the win-win. We, then.
What we
then-
asked
then
for,
Based on the conversation that we had the other day.
Right.
He wanted a top 10. I sent a top 10,
You did.
and it's like, I'm not saying that everything needs to be
Right.
adjusted,
Well,
but we haven't had any
now,
dialogue.
here's.
He asked for a small, you asked for me to talk, I'm just trying to talk. He asked for a small meeting. I sent an email asking for the small meeting.
Mhm.
You say, he says, we'll get back to you. You say, we can't do it unless it's a public meeting. So like, we're getting told two different things from multiple
So,
people.
so you
and
have a
I'm
problem
trying to-
with coming to a public meeting?
No, we'll
That
do
was
public
always meant
meetings
to be.
all the time.
That was always meant to be a public meeting.
And that's fine.
Yeah,
That is perfectly fine.
but with a limited number of people. That was the.
If it's,
Here's what,
they haven't had an opportunity, there's individuals that have said, I got stuff to say. They haven't sent me stuff. So there's other things that people, you asked me to control it, I controlled it. You asked me to get this amount here, I followed everything that you
So
suggested.
let me chime in here, because I'm the intermediary, so the request, the list you sent a while ago, again, you said 20 pages. Then I subsequently requested from you, give us your 10 items you're hearing the most about. Originally, I said prioritize those, and you said, I'm gonna have to send out another survey.
No,
I
that was
said-
the other day. That was the
Yeah,
other
that's
day.
what I'm saying, the other day, you said that, and I said, that's not fair for us to ask. Can you give us from your recall what the 10 most mentioned items, which you did, and that's one of the things that we're gonna talk about, including this list that you and I talked about specifically the other day. So our intent is, is to walk through some of these today, and then we want to go to have a meeting and basically make some of the changes that we heard at the meeting at the Chieftain Center, wherever that building's called up there. To take those, make some of those changes, and then give you guys a draft back, and then schedule a time to have a conversation.
Okay, so just so we're all clear, the 7th meeting and the 15th meeting, we had stuff that's sent, and there's been no reflection. So then you keep asking for things.
But see,
We have no
haven't met
changes to
since
be,
then.
I know,
We haven't met since then.
but I'm just
So-
saying, that,
So Gabe, when you and I talked the other night, my request there was, yeah, we have a lot of stuff, not just from you, but from, I mentioned that we've gotten quite a few emails from
Yeah.
individual cabinet members. So honestly, for us to consolidate all the information, we gotta hire two full-time people just to consolidate all the requests.
I've been doing it.
I know you have, so.
You don't have to hire nobody.
That's what we requested. That's why I said, send us the top 10 so that we can focus on those 10. My thought is, if we can address the top 10 in a way that satisfies both parties, then we can deal with the 100 other things, whether or not they're significant. But let's get some wins. My goal was to
I
say,
agree.
let's get the top 10, let's address
But
those.
you
But
have-
also,
there's been
also,
nothing
Gabe,
that has
you
changed.
don't represent every cabin owner in Hocking County.
You're exactly right, I don't.
We have to weigh those in consideration as well.
Yeah,
And I believe,
Part of the
I
challenge.
believe at the meeting that we attended, that was your meeting, the Lodging Owners Association, you requested that that group have a representative or a couple of 3 committee formed to give to us what your group's concerns are.
Exactly. And the next day, there was in that meeting, you mentioned having a small group meet. I mean,
We were asking that you give us those in writing, not to meet with that.
they were sent the next day.
Can I say something? As a cabin owner and a resident of Hocking County,
Please.
yesterday was the first I ever even heard of this. And not only, I'm Wade Meyer, I've lived in Hocking County all my life, lived in Laurel Township all my life. I do have cabins, I've got 2 on my farm, I've had them for 25 years. I'm running for township trustee and going around talking to people. Some of the people are like, we haven't heard of this, you know, and I'm like, okay. So that's why I'm here today. I just read this draft this morning. I knew nothing about
You don't get the newspaper,
it. I don't get the newspaper, I don't get on my phone
you're not
or
on
my
Facebook,
computer.
you're
I
not,
run the farm and run my cattle.
and do you get mail?
Do I get mail?
The survey was sent by mail to every resident in Hocking County.
When was that sent?
How long
A
have
long
we been-
time ago.
How long have we
I
been
didn't
working
see a
on this
survey.
committee?
It was 2 years ago.
How
But
long
wait,
have you been
wait to respond, there's only so much we can do. I mean,
Yeah,
we can't knock
I
on
get
every
it.
door and say, have you read it?
I get it, but I
This is a
just
public
know
meeting.
that going out into the public,
Well,
especially the past 3 weeks,
yeah,
people have
There
brought
have
this
been,
up to me.
I attended one in Laurel Township at the South Bloomingville School in your neighborhood. I attended a meeting hosted by Audie in your school back in the fall, or in the spring, I'm sorry, in the spring. And I was there, and in the gym, sitting on the bleachers, hosted by Audie, we went through this whole conversation.
Yeah, I'm just
It
saying,
was in
I
your neighborhood.
haven't heard about it, but I don't,
Well,
I
and
keep to
it's-
myself and,
believe me, Wade, it's unfortunate that people haven't heard.
yeah.
We have been meeting since March of 2023. Every meeting has been a live Facebook meeting.
Yeah.
There's been probably half a dozen articles in the newspaper. There's been,
Surveys?
WUB done. We had an event at the fair where we set up and talked to people. We sent out a survey, that was in the very beginning. Then HHTA did their own survey, and that went out, that was the one that was mailed to every resident in Hocking County. We've done everything we've known to do to get the word
It's
out.
unfortunate that your first view of this committee is the proposed
Correct.
form draft, because it's a proposal and there's a lot that we're scratching
And
out and
wait.
changing. But no, we haven't changed anything because we only meet once a month. Like, we're all volunteering our time, so it takes a lot of time, and I haven't even been participating, going to the evening meetings in between our monthly
Yeah.
meetings. So, yeah, that's why nothing has been
And wait,
changed.
I want to say, I'm not trying to be miracles like you, I'm not on social media, I don't do social media. But if you have an idea of how we can engage more people so that
Yeah, I
There
mean,
are
I
more
wish I'd
people like
have
you.
more of a chance. I mean, there's several things in here that I really want to ask about.
Well, here's what I would
Because
hope
I'm
you do, Wade, is either stop in, better yet, I don't know if you email or not, but email us a list, write a list and mail it to us of questions you have. We have not made any changes to the draft since we talked to you and wanted the input representative of HHLOA.
But you can go back and watch previous meetings, like, so last month's meeting, we talked a lot about
It's
various,
no longer on there.
it's not,
They're all deleted.
Are they erasing the meetings?
no idea.
They're deleted. They're no longer active.
I think Facebook put some kind of limit on, I don't know what that is, but Christie, do you know what that is? Didn't Mark say that there's some kind of limit on how
So
long?
last time
Facebook
we met, we
keeps
talked a lot
something
about there's
on
It is,
there.
I think
things
it's 3
on
months, we're
that.
having difficulty that we're disconnected Mark's on his way back in.
That's what we're doing. We're going for it and we're having a discussion. We have people
3 months.
like you coming and giving their input on these topics.
So
I think it's
like
3
last
months,
month's
3
is
months
on
or
there.
30 days.
I was thinking it was 30 days, but we'll ask Mark when he comes in, because I know that was an issue for the commissioner meetings. Do we have another tool that could be available? So,
Yeah, maybe we record different and upload it to YouTube or something.
my guess is we probably can. I'm sure Facebook won't allow us to do that. I'm sure they.
We would have, we maybe check with Mark to see if there's some other way to video tape the meetings and upload them.
Yeah.
Some way, somehow, I don't know.
We do have now, right, Christie, there is a place on the commissioner site where
Yes.
all the minutes, all
are,
the notes, everything's on there. So
Yeah,
we did do that after that.
The meetings are.
Yeah.
So like this is on the website?
yeah.
Well, that's helpful then. Okay. So did you hear that?
What was
The meeting minutes are posted on our website,
On the
on the
commissioner.
commissioner's
that?
website.
Commission, what,
So you can get a highlight of what we talked about, which in my opinion would be helpful.
That happened after the October 7th meeting. Somebody made the comment, very valid comment, that, you know, how do we stay abreast? How do we get the most current version of the things? And I made a commitment, which Christie delivered on, to say, whenever there's a change, we post it. So we post minutes, we post any updates to the proposals on that.
But like, nobody knows to search there because everybody's looked and nothing is there. And that's another thing, like the public hearing, nobody can find the information. I'm texting, I'm emailing, I'm calling, and I'm not, you know, and in the minutes, it says it was at 6. You all told me 5. So I mean, it's like,
The meeting actually started at 5:30.
but you all told me 5. And in the previous meeting, you all said 5.
Yeah, I think the intent
5
was,
to 7 and then 7 on. That was exactly what
well,
was said.
the original intent was to have
The doors open at
doors
5.
open at 5, for
Meetings
the
start at 5:30.
non-short-term rentals from 5 to 7, and rental owners from 7 to 9.
But you want me to be the one person to contact, and I can't even get information from you all that's accurate. You see what I mean? It's like, we can't have this, you say one thing, you do another thing, and then expect me to be able to relay this information if I can't even get the information from
Okay,
you.
what information, give me some examples, other than a half hour's difference in that time slot.
Well, it says 6, and you all told me 5, so that's an hour. I mean, that's an
What
hour.
says 6?
The meeting minutes,
The last meeting minutes, we set an hour each for each one.
Okay,
And I said we would open the meeting, we would open the doors at 5,
all right.
and depending on how the crowd was.
Oh, you're saying that we might have started short-term rentals at 6. Is that what you're saying?
Well, short-term rentals were started, believe they were started,
We started at 7.
started closer to 7.
Yeah, it was, but I thought our commitment was
We
5
were
to
well
7.
within
5
the
to
6 o'clock
7,
time.
and 7 on was what was said on that Facebook.
Okay, so that's. is
And
there
I
anything
can tell
else?
you, I went back and watched it
Yeah.
before we published it because we didn't want to be
I
wrong.
just don't know what the 6 is. I think 5 to 7, where do you see 6?
It is in your all's last, meeting minutes.
October 15th, 6 p.m. for the ordinances.
Oh.
And then.
I mean, that's just an example.
At 7.
Yeah,
I mean,
Okay, give
But that didn't
someone else
affect the
that.
short-term rental.
Did not affect the short-term rentals.
so the other ordinances don't affect them?
Not really.
I feel like we need to probably,
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
like, there's a break in communication. You're wanting me to be the representative, the sole representative.
No,
I'm
we're not wanting you to
saying,
be,
I mean,
you're
no,
offering yourself to be.
I am.
We're saying we want
I
a
am,
person.
I am, and it's like, we want to work with you, but how? Like, we've sent stuff, nothing has been done, and I get that you said you only meet once a month.
Right.
Well,
But then you ask for more things, we don't have anything else to provide.
okay, well, that's great. So
see-
that's probably where we need to stop at this point. If you've given us this information, great. Let's
See
work
this?
on that and move forward.
stack of papers, those are all things that either came from you or came individually from other people. Those have all been shared with David, every single one of them. What we ask of you to represent HHLOA as a group and to give us a list.
And I said I would coordinate that.
And that list
I
did
will
not come
happily do
until
it.
yesterday.
Let me just clarify. The list, the 10 list, that's what he's referring to, the 10 list. We know you gave us the list before.
Yes, and that was the 10, but it was added upon because there's a whole lot more than 10.
But see, and that's where, and so let's just move forward because
I'm
you're
good
right.
with that.
And
I'm good with that.
you're working hard, so nobody's gonna question that. We'll work.
No, we're not
working
questioning
on
that at
improving
all.
communication.
Yeah, we're not questioning that at all, but the list that,
He just asked for an example, so I just gave him.
well, the list that you're referring to did not come from HHLOA.
We had a hand, we literally went over it with Joe.
Well, so why didn't you say in the heading, here
I
is
sent you
HHLOA's?
a recap and said, please review this and see if there's anything that you would like to add to it. And there is that included.
Right, well, and that has been shared with David.
And, so I kind of discounted what Joe said when you sent that yesterday or whenever that came. I discounted that because I was looking at the list that you sent that had 10 items on it.
Do you see what I'm saying?
But
Well,
again,
you see what we're
you see
saying.
what we're saying.
No, I'm saying, you
Why
asked
did
for
Joe
something.
send a list? Why did Joe send those? We didn't ask for a list.
We didn't ask.
You asked for 10, like,
We did not ask for a list for Joe, we asked
He
for a list
did.
from HHLOA.
He did.
No, I didn't ask for a list from Joe. I asked for a list for
That
you
is
to
work together, literally, we bounce these things off, like, here are these things that.
How do we know that?
Okay, that wasn't clear to me. That wasn't clear to me. I thought what Joe was saying, his perspective, and he voiced his perspective in
Yes.
both meetings.
Oh, it is definitely Joe, because he is versed and he's an expert on advocacy and short-term rentals, so.
Is he speaking on behalf of HHLA?
No.
Well, that's.
But see,
our point.
what we were wanting.
I sent the same thing that he said to you.
All I was saying is, I didn't look at Joe's list, I looked at your list, which is what I wanted.
Joe sent it, then I sent it.
What you said today had both of them on there, or yesterday, whatever you said. You said-
And on the email that I sent at 3:13 in the morning, saying, let's schedule a meeting, just like you had suggested.
Yep.
I mean, we're wasting time here. Let's just move on. I sent it, I done everything that you said,
And
in
you
the
have,
order that you said.
you have sent the list that I requested, and thank you for that.
And then this other top 10 was based on the conversation we had right after the HHTA board meeting. That is the another top
Yeah.
10.
And, but see, without us verifying that, I mean, it's not just Joe's that we got, it's all these others that we got.
But
And
there's
they've
things
all
on
been
here
shared.
there's
And
things
we
on here
asked-
that he understands about the industry and how it's handled throughout the
But
state.
here's our request, Gabe, is get Joe on your team and get a consolidated response. Not a Joe
That's-
response and an HHLO response.
We want to
Send a
consolidate.
consolidated response.
Same thing.
It's the exact same. It's exactly
I think all he's trying to say is it's the same thing. It's-
Okay.
Okay,
But
so,
we don't know that without
okay.
verifying it.
Communication issue. I don't think it's anything. I think it's-
Now, can I share something with you with what Joe originally sent me? That all of those regulations that he showed to an Article 2 in Texas, state of Texas, one in the state of California, a couple up in the northern states, New Jersey, do you realize all those are stricter than what we're proposing, every single one of them? Have you looked at those?
Are they the same? Okay, so you're comparing apples and oranges.
He's the one that
You want
sent them to us,
justification
he's the
and
one that
support.
sent them to us
You
and
wanted
saying,
justification.
you should
and
look at
support.
these.
You wanted justification and support according to him. So here's how he validated it with other jurisdictions.
That's stricter than ours.
Yeah, but at what point's he trying to make it? He provides
Like,
regulations that
that
are.
if another place can do it and it makes sense, you
That's
want
stricter than
justification.
ours.
You wanted support, so you got it. Like, I mean, you say that
I
it's
don't
stricter.
think support what
Okay.
they said.
I mean,
That's confusing though, because you're, I mean, is it fair to say that you guys are saying these regulations are too stringent?
they're
Is that
not
fair?
well thought out. They are.
I mean, as they're currently written.
As, yeah, I mean, I get part of it is not understood. I get part of it, it needs more flesh to it, for sure.
My
which is why
background,
we're here today.
yeah. My background is I went to every one of those meetings.
Yes, you did.
And we came and we tried, I wrote down, my wife and I, we live here. There's a huge narrative between, and I can side with you, I'm in Green Township. So I'm probably a few of the people that live here and work here.
Mhm.
But there's just, and I know a lot of the service people, whether they're in Hocking County, Athens County, whether we're, everyone up to the engineer's office, right? So we're just trying to write a document that everybody can agree on, and that seems
Right.
to be a very, very, very.
Yeah, and that's why I've continually asked that you be
Yeah.
specific about
Right.
the wording that you think is cumbersome, the wording that you think is not clear enough.
Right.
I mean, to keep saying, we don't understand the reason for a emergency contact person. Be specific.
And let me just say, we had a conversation the other night, and I'll tell, and
I don't, go ahead.
yeah, and I heard that, and I heard, in fact, look, can we just go there, let's just do some work,
Yeah.
instead of
Let's do
being
that.
back and forth. So the first one, now let's get down to number 2. Because honestly, and Gabe, trust me, I'm not pushing back. You have been a warrior in this. Identify, so these are comments, that, we just had a conversation. This isn't a top 10, this is just a conversation. And let me say also to,
Which
we
document?
want, I'm looking at this one, HHLOA comments on the back of the agenda, second page of the
One
agenda.
that you said.
And, no, he didn't say this, we just had a verbal, and I just typed it up.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to having this next meeting that we're gonna have, where we can take some of the recommendations that were made at the last meeting, and we can say, okay, this makes sense. Let's do one of two things. Let's change the proposal we made, and/or let's explain why the proposal makes sense. And we haven't done that. We haven't had time to do that. That is our next agenda. I'm looking forward to giving that back to you guys, and then say, okay, well, now we're making progress. But let's just talk about that. Number 2, identify the purpose of the local contact. This is what you and I talked about, Gabe. Is the contact meant for the guest? And I said, you can see, that's me, MDL. I don't think so. I told you that. I don't think it's meant for the guest. It's really meant for a third party, primarily emergency services. But again, we don't put that, that's not in here yet. It needs to be in here. That'll probably alleviate 50 people saying, what's the purpose of the, or understanding the role of local contact. So just based on a one-on-one conversation, all these things I thought were like, these are all reasonable.
Yeah.
Change tenant to guest.
Absolutely.
So, and I know it feels
Absolutely.
contentious now, but I really believe after we have our next meeting where we have more people sitting around the table, we can make some of the changes and we give you the updated version. I think there's gonna be a sigh of relief on all parties to say, we're not this far away. We may still be this far away, but we're not here, and then we can move forward on the remaining points. That's the hope.
Yeah, the number 3 tenant to guest, I mean, that's so small. And that's apparently a legal definition that I'm not
Yeah, and
aware of.
I rent a lot of property, and tenant definitely has tenant rights, and tenant rights to go with the tenant. So it could be presumed by a cabin renter that they have certain rights because they're a tenant versus a guest. So that's an easy change to make.
But for an example, Ohio Realtors Association, getting back to the contact person, Ohio Realtors Association short-term rental ordinance model says simply, under section 7, a 24/7 local contact person must be available to respond to complaints within 1 hour.
Respond. They can take,
But
I'm
you-
just gonna tell you what they say. Respond is one thing,
Within 1 hour.
that's one thing. But being present is another. So if they
Well,
can
that's
fix the
not-
problem, I'm just telling you I'm giving you what
That's
they
good.
say.
Good feedback.
That's good, but that
So if
needed to
they
be
can fix the
here.
problem within an hour,
Two separate issues, in my opinion. Two separate issues.
So
We just need to
respond versus,
be present if in fact there's an issue with a sheriff needing to show up and wanting to.
they wanna be able to, they don't wanna give rights to other people on behalf of their property. That's-
But yet they want an
They-
enforcing body to remove people who are violating their agreement. So that's
So
it's
my-
mutually exhausting.
I don't think so.
My
Oh, yeah.
understanding of this was that it could be,
Doesn't have to be the owner,
so, but it can be there.
but it can be.
If I have a short-term rental, I am the emergency service because I'm responding. If I go on a 2-week vacation,
You
I'm gonna designate my buddy
And that's
to
all
be
we're
my
asking.
emergency person to respond to my business
Right.
if there is an emergency.
Right.
It's that simple, correct?
Right.
I don't need to hire somebody.
No,
If I'm out of state or out of the country,
So it could speak on your
then
behalf.
yes, I probably
someone
have
who
to
can
hire
speak on your behalf, exactly. That's all we've ever wanted.
That doesn't
And that's what I'm
sound-
saying, like,
Yeah.
if you put this down and make it more
We will,
clear,
we will.
that's what I'm trying
We
to
will.
get at.
That's,
And again, when we talked the last time, Gabe, and I heard it from the guy who spoke first. The guy who spoke at the last meeting, the guy who spoke first, the point that he made, I'm like, and I had my notes, I'm like, wow, we just need to clarify it. We just need to clarify it. We just need to clarify that. And again, once we have the updated version, which my thought would be a lengthier version because it'll have a lot more meat to it, I think it'll answer some questions just because of clarity. Not because we're changing or you're changing, it'll just clarify the intent. So location signage, let's.
Yeah, location signage, give us your thoughts on that.
Well, just, I know I've had a couple that were landlocked and they have, basically they don't have any road frontage. So how are they supposed to?
How are they found now?
They're not. That's part of the problem, they're probably not.
so they,
But
So
if you're requiring signage, if they can't put it in there because
Signage,
It's not their property.
signage, most of the time is allowed as part of obviously, they don't own the road, but they have an easement on the road. Part of your legal, authority of owning that easement is to put a sign on the road.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Such
That's
a
what I said.
mailbox somewhere.
Right.
Yeah,
But I've had that question asked.
yeah, that's a good question, but legally they should be, if they have legal easement.
Yeah, well, we've heard from this is another one for first responders. They get a call from somebody in a cabin. They're not from here. They finally found the cabin some way, somehow. They've got an emergency. This happened with a gentleman who died from a heart attack. She had no idea how to get there. There wasn't an address inside the cabin. She had no idea even the name of the cabin. The first responders could not find her, and he died. And they said, we do not want that to happen again. And they shouldn't have that happen again. The guest invited in should not have that.
I don't think many people have a problem.
So that's the only, that's the point.
The
I
sad
don't
part
think-
of it is the residents are just as bad.
Well, but the residents,
Yeah,
that's
they
on
know.
the
They know.
residents. That's on their own.
If they choose to
They're
die in their house, it's
inviting
their
a guy
choice.
from Cleveland or out of town. The resident might be able to tell them, well, you need to come down to Creechbaum and make a ride, and, where the out of town person doesn't know that.
Just like in business, there's a higher standard there is for residential.
Right.
Our fire department responded to emergency with one driveway going in with 8 cabins scattered back there. One of the cabins does not have driveway access to it. You have to walk back to it. I didn't even know that all those cabins were there. So it's a safety issue.
It is
Are
a
you
safety
a
issue.
trustee?
Yeah.
I thought I'd seen you.
In Horseshoe Township.
Yeah.
Was that a fire or a,
No, it was
okay,
assist with EMS.
okay. Thank goodness it wasn't a fire.
Right,
You're like, how are they gonna
But-
get there? Yeah,
There have been fires.
Yeah.
But the point that I want to make is that there has been no regulations whatsoever as far as safety for
Right,
all these people that are flooding us.
exactly. And that's what we've heard continue.
And when I read your proposals, it addresses some of those issues.
Yeah.
But not all
But not all of you, exactly right.
Um,
number 3.
We talked about that.
Number 3 is the tenant, yes,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, we did.
Um, you suggested visit 3 to 5 random cabins. My thought is, Lonnie and I haven't talked about this, but my thought is, once we get the next version, I think that makes sense. I think for some people on the committee to say, hey, we're gonna pick these 3 to start with, and as long as the cabin owner is okay with it, and not to audit them, but just to basically say, this was probably out of compliance based on what we're thinking, and that again allows some very direct conversation about, oh, that's how that's interpreted. I think that's a great idea, and I hope we can accomplish
Oh,
that.
I think that's a small task, to do, to show to us
Yeah.
in the real world, show to you in the real world. When we were having our stakeholders meetings with first responders, they told us things I had no idea they were having difficulties with, none whatsoever. And
Yeah.
Dave, you've been out on those calls.
Oh, yeah.
Steve Buckley, who's on the group, who's out of the state, has a lot of stories about those things.
Horror
And
stories.
horror stories is exactly right.
He loves telling them too.
Yeah, so, so there's no, I don't have a problem with doing that at all. In fact, I think it would help not only you, but us, and it might even say, hey, maybe we need to beat this up a little more. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it'll help us really kind of develop a checklist of
Yeah,
what exactly we're looking for.
right.
Grandfathering, that's off the table for now, because we need to figure out what we're gonna put in place before we talk about any grandfathering, in my opinion. Ask about the status of lines that we set are in the court, that's the special events permit.
Yeah,
Several things that and there has been conversation over the last 36 hours with that committee to basically say, speed up your process a little bit. Let's get down the road on, honestly, what happened is one party thought they were waiting on the other party, one being the prosecuting attorney, one being the committee, and it stalled because they thought they were waiting to hear back from the prosecuting attorney.
Yeah.
Prosecuting attorney thought they were waiting to get updates from them, so that is now back on track.
yeah, there was and I think I talked about this at the last meeting, there was a meeting with first responders at that group that the county prosecutors represented, attended, and it was a very good group. We had handed him a draft. He had a lot of good suggestions. The draft is still there, but we're waiting on hearing back from those. And David, I don't know if you were affected with what brought this about, and this is another thing that first responders identified to us. I don't know, was it this past, I think it was the summer before last, was it this past summer? Where we had 3 major events in the county. Ended up being
It was this past.
this traffic backup on 33, traffic backup on 93, I think maybe 180. There were 3 events that none of the law enforcement and first responders knew anything about. There should have been police there for traffic control. There should have been various things. We're not looking to require a permit for family reunions or wedding receptions or any of those things. We're certainly not looking for a special permit for short-term rental owners, unless it's of a size. One of the points of contention, and in the draft it says 100 people, I think that's too small. First responders at that meeting threw out a couple different ideas, some of those not being numbers, but based on other things. And those were all given to the assistant prosecutor, and that's what we're waiting on. So that's where we are with that.
And hopefully that's.
Back on track, and we'll hear back and get going on that.
And
Number
then
number
last one.
7, yeah, what we've talked about, and we haven't set this yet, because we wanted to throw this out here, you will notice in the last draft, there's a section added for variance requests. And we've thrown out the idea of a year. Give any cabin owners who has some deficiency a year to comply. And it's not beyond the realm of belief that sometimes you can't get to things in a year for many different reasons. And so that variance request would come into play as long as we can identify that efforts are being made to bring something in compliance. We're not here to shut, I don't care what anybody says, we're
That
not.
goes to this one thing back here,
Mhm.
on measurements. 30 inches between the sides of the bed.
That's one location on the bed, not all sides of the bed.
That's not on all sides. Okay.
We,
So
we
you
need
get
a
it out
place.
I guess you would probably should specify that. 'cause
Yeah, and that's okay, and we recognize that that's vague. Again, we're not the writer of these things, we're working with a consultant that has done this.
And that one actually came out of the administrative code for the state law.
Right.
That exactly.
Yeah,
That's how they stated.
so it's not like we invented it.
Yeah.
What
Yes.
page is that on? What page?
4. I was just wondering because I thought, I'm gonna have to tear out a bathroom, 2 walls.
No. We had a gentleman come in yesterday and he's proposing, he's got, I think, is it 3 cabins now, Scott? He's got 3 cabins now.
There's got 5.
Oh, he's got 5. He's proposing 3 more. And I know you guys have seen these prefab. They get very nice,
Mhm.
like the park models and various different things. And he showed us some plans and some of those he's gonna do. The beds are in the corner, and that's all right, but he's got a space to get out. That's all we're after. We're after safe ingress and egress, mainly egress in the case of a fire. We don't want there to be beds slammed together all the way
Wall to wall.
wall to wall, and you gotta crawl across 10 beds. to
But
get out.
important distinction to clarify, so thank you for that.
Yeah,
So we crossed
Can-
out the square footage.
the square footage
Yes.
is gold.
Which is.
Yeah,
awesome.
which interestingly enough, that's in model codes, is that square footage
Yeah.
requirement.
Yeah.
But we have scratched that out.
But we don't know what's grandfathering, so it's like, you got everybody panicking.
Well,
Well,
this is our workshop, like, this
Yes.
is all work in progress, we haven't, it's just unfortunate we haven't had anything to be like, look, here's our, this is what is moved.
So I think it's fair to say that we don't intend to grandfather ingress and egress out of
No.
house.
No, we're not.
So are you thinking that lofts will have to have stairs?
How else do you get into a loft?
I mean, exterior.
Oh, I don't know.
Exterior walls.
So they've got,
He
you got a
means
loft.
an interior loft, so you guys.
You need to get outside immediately.
Right, which is the only type,
You only need a window.
well, there's that, and the only person that was ever responsible for that was when Kevin did his big 40-some person, and he had to go strictly commercial. That
Oh,
was
okay.
before everything in 2017.
Yeah, before
And
2017.
then you had to have a staircase exterior to the home
Yeah, no,
to go down, and that was relative to the state
yeah,
code.
no, we're
Yeah.
not requiring anything like
Yeah,
that.
that's where I think everybody gets.
Yeah.
It's the big,
No,
but it's not blame game, it's just simply
Yeah.
trying to figure out what does it mean.
yeah,
Clarification.
It's.
but it's like, and I think you had a phone call about some basement bedrooms.
Yeah.
And you're gonna need, and of course, if it's a walkout basement, hopefully you can put a window in it. If it's not a walkout basement and you're gonna have sleeping quarters out there, then you're gonna have to find some other emergency exit.
So you need at least one point of egress, that's what they're saying.
Yeah, in addition to, if a fire starts in the stairwell, or you're blocked in the basement from a fire, because you can't get through the stairwell, you need another point of egress.
So if they had to get a door, essentially,
Yeah.
36-inch man door, they
Yeah.
can get you out on a walkout,
Yeah.
you're good.
Absolutely.
Because all this is different in comparison to a licensed structural engineer that can conduct blueprints, because they're gonna tell you window wells, exterior, all of them.
Yeah,
So,
Yeah.
that's where some people were
no,
very confused also.
no.
One of the questions that I've been asked is, how do you plan on enforcing this?
Well, that's something that, without enforcement, the regulations aren't any good.
Right.
That's something that's yet to be decided by the commissioners. There is a company that are located in Marietta that does code enforcement work for the city of Logan. And I have talked briefly to them, and they would be interested. They do various small county governments, that's within their region, and ours is within their region. And they come out and they do those inspections.
Who pays for that?
It would be paid for by the owner.
How much would that be?
I don't know.
Do they gotta pay an inspection, a deck inspection,
No,
or would that be separate?
that'd be all together.
Okay.
And decks, the only decks that need to be inspected, anything greater than 5 feet off the ground.
I heard a ton, and I actually talked to a structural engineer. He'd never signed off on giving a weight limit occupancy. I mean, they just won't do it if it's used, like, way or
Yeah.
older. So
Well-
there's a lot of potential holdup.
Well, I can tell you, it doesn't take a structural engineer to see if you're spanning 10 feet with a 2-to-4 as a joist, that's not gonna work.
One thing that was brought up in one of our meetings, just to maybe help share, is that at least with new construction, and I have not been in that field for several years. With new construction, they typically are looking for state approval, right? If you're
Right.
doing everything right. If you're-
Right.
Everything's
Right.
going through the Department of Commerce. Right. So how does that correlate, and how do you bring in, or do you need to collaborate with a new office potentially, or whoever is going to be, as he had asked, enforcing? If they
Well-
get these plans and it does have
You're-
decking, and then it's like,
Yeah,
well,
you're-
this is what the state says, but no, we're gonna.
No,
do
no,
this, you know what I mean?
no,
So-
no.
Not just on decking, anything.
Yeah, no, if you get your permit from the state of Ohio, we don't look at anything.
But it would be inspected the second year, wouldn't it, to some degree?
We're not proposing future inspections at this point in time.
Okay.
Just
It's
the
just a
one
one-time
first time.
inspection.
Yeah.
I guess the other thing I look at, Holly, and it's just, I'm pretty much in compliant with everything on here other than that. What you explained to me about the 30-inch thing
Yeah,
was
okay.
like the age requirement. I've got 2 cabins. I've rented them out for almost 25 years.
Mhm.
And I don't know how many times I've rented them out to
Well,
18-year-olds.
We're
If they
probably,
can graduate high school and go into the
That's
military.
we're probably
I
gonna
can't
lower
buy it.
that to 18. I can tell you that, all motel hotels have a 21-year, minimum age.
Yeah,
So it's not a number we made up. It comes.
yeah,
from-
and I
it comes
understand
from
that, but I really think that when you take that away from the individual cabin
Well,
owners,
we're-
it's
we-
like you're dictating.
Yeah, we've heard that, and I don't, I think that's gonna be reduced to 18. I don't think we're seeing.
I think the outside travel agencies too will potentially have an issue, somewhat with fairness with that in their language. They just do.
Yeah,
They rule a lot now. So-
yeah.
Another one, administrator reserving the right to make inspections at any time.
No, that's been changed.
And then excluding one night. So it basically says one day, changing the
Well, we-
language
we
to
can-
one night.
We can change that, yeah, we can change that to one night. What we didn't want is hour by hour.
I don't think.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a lot of people that do it once
Yeah.
a night.
Yeah. Yeah,
Do what?
Say,
I-
say, oh,
I-
I say
instead of
one
saying
night.
one night, 1 hour, because you check in at 3 or
And then you're out by
3:30, and then
6.
you leave by 11 or 12, and that's not a full 24-hour day.
Right,
Yeah, that's just, that was never intended to be,
I understood.
So I know that this is a hot button topic, and
Yeah.
it's great that you have it in here, but I don't know that it will serve. But the BCI pass fail, I got a ton of people ask about it, and I
Well-
know what you're gonna say.
I know
I know what you're gonna say is
But I
perfect timing, right?
I can tell you right now,
So like, let me ask you this, would the
Okay.
BCI pass fail have prevented that one?
He wouldn't have.
not in that individual, but he wouldn't have had a cabin.
But you said, why? If he didn't have a
No,
contract? If he
if
wouldn't have had a cabin. so you're gonna-
if we hadn't adopted that, he could have kept the cabins he's got.
what I'm saying is, if they have a record, are you gonna prevent them from doing business?
You need, like in,
Short-term
To
rental.
get a permit and start a new
Yeah,
business.
that's what-
it depends on what, it depends on what the record is.
DUI from 20 years ago.
No. So if we're talking
Sex
about
offender?
a sex offender, you're
But
on
you
the,
got a sex offender list right now. What's the purpose of this? I'm just curious. If only sex offender
let me ask you
is,
this.
if only sex offender is the prohibitive thing, why do they have to
I don't
pay
think that's
for?
the only thing.
It's not the only thing, no. There would be other things, but let me ask you this.
I don't dispute that there
Yeah.
shouldn't be,
Oh, I know.
but,
But
It
every
makes
every
sense.
employee of the county has to have a background check.
okay,
My wife, who teaches Sunday school, had to have a background check. The background check costs you $35 at the sheriff's office.
Okay.
If you live out of state, if you're a cabin owner that lives out of state, it's $65. So where's the issue with this?
well, it says an applicant to ensure that the applicant does not have conviction for a sex crime. That's all it says.
Mhm.
So if all you're doing is checking for sex crimes, don't you already have something?
No,
for you
it's
to
not
know?
up to us to check that. It's up to the applicant to show us that it's been checked.
What page you on? Sorry.
To- Number 8.
So you really feel like paying $35 for a background check is a burden?
It's just piling on them, Audie.
I-
They're getting hit from all directions right now. Like, and I know that this ain't all your fault. and
Yeah,
all
I know. I know.
I'm just telling you, they're getting hit from everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's like piling and piling and piling, and they're selling. They're selling because of the threat of this, or the proposition of this.
Apparently they don't own any other place that has cabin rental restrictions.
I'm just telling you,
Gatlinburg,
they are, probably not.
Dayton,
No, I think most of them
Sandusky,
are local, only.
Cleveland.
Well, I would hope that before
Cincinnati.
somebody panics and sells their property, their business, they would have had a conversation.
Well,
you know?
there's other things that are factoring, the taxes,
Oh, yeah, there's other things like unrelated to this that I can
mortgages coming
very much appreciate.
due. I
A
mean,
lot of that has to do with the economic cycle.
It does, it's not.
It's gonna be.
but it's
next
it's
5 years.
piling on, and it's all at the same time. That's
But
what I'm saying.
let me pose this question to you, Gabe. Let's say this gentleman who got caught, who took a plea deal. And by the way, he's not the only case in Hocking County, there's several others involving short-term rentals that I'm not allowed to talk about.
How many-
So we know-
How many? Just curious.
I don't know. I was not privy to that number.
Okay.
This came from the sheriff's office. The fact that if we don't have this in place would not prohibit him to continue to own these forward. Would not prohibit him to add more to it moving forward.
I see valid points, but I'm telling you, people have concerns on this.
I know they do, but I think it's a no-brainer, a non-starter. I really do.
So, like, how many of them have, in the past, what is your knowledge, have had this? You see what I mean?
I've only heard generalizations from the prosecutor's office and the sheriff's office. I'm not privy to any of that.
So do you think it's the background check or is the money connected to the background check?
I think it's both. I think it's
I
both.
can't imagine somebody being concerned about a background check.
If you are, then you may have some.
You know,
How would you do this if you had a property manager acting, like, let's say, we all know Book Hawkins is the largest agency in the area. If they take on another client, as they've taken on so many in the last 6 months to a year, are they gonna be the BCI, and I'm asking because I don't know.
Yeah.
The BCI checkpoint, is that them, meaning whoever is appointed to their organization, acting on the property?
As far as the
owner's
operating
behalf?
goes.
Exactly.
I would think it'd have to potentially be on both. I don't know.
Well, the only reason is that whomever buys the property, they
Yeah,
can easily come down here when it's not
continue
booked.
on. Yeah.
Just something to think about.
Well, you know, this fellow that was in the news,
Right.
gosh, what did he have, 15 cabins he was associated with? Now, he's all sold those, he's no longer part of the ownership.
I feel like it would make more sense for it to be the owner.
I think both, because. if
I
the
think,
operator
because the operator could
can
have,
go in and do something.
he could have free reign on a, you know.
You have risk on either end.
Yeah, there's risk either way you go. And it's not gonna catch everybody.
Right.
You know, this guy, I mean, you read about this guy, for all intents and purposes, he's a family guy, 2 young kids. It's all big shock to everybody that knew him apparently. But, and yeah, he would have passed the background check had he recently done that. But there was nothing after he's convicted to prohibit him to continue, and that's why we don't want to.
Prison.
I think.
Prison does.
Well, 4 years in prison, then he'll be back out, and, you know.
Overall, I think his message, and I don't buy it one way or the other necessarily, I just look at it from the standpoint of the gentleman that stood up in the room when you guys had gone out to Kevin Kloss's event, and the true risk to the area, knowing some of the other areas of the U.S. that have changed immensely, top heavy down by a long shot, is not having a seller come out and say, I'm out, and then this wave starts and you have corporate come in.
Yeah.
They have so much money that anybody in this room needs to acknowledge that, I think.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And they want to deploy it. Even Amazon has
Yeah.
a program now that you can take $100 and go into a fund, and they're looking, they have $800 million right
Yeah.
now. to deploy.
Yeah. Yeah.
On single family homes.
Yeah, and look at how lucrative it would appear to a large group like that to come to Hocking County who has nothing.
Exactly. Right. In fact, there's no controls there, so.
There's no controls there whatsoever, and that's all the more reason that we at least try to attempt to look at these things.
And everything has a price.
Right.
I mean, even if you're not looking to sell, if somebody offers enough money.
Exactly. It's, yeah. It's tampered down since the last few years. No
Yeah.
question.
Yeah. You know, the thing that, and I will say in this stack, and I won't read it, but one of the guys that was at the meeting who wanted to get up and speak and didn't,
In the public hearing.
at the public hearing, I said, well, put that in writing, and he gave it to me. He feels like there needs to be a moratorium on Indian cabins. My thought has always been, and this is just my personal thought, it's not been that of the group, is that the market's gonna take care of that the market will do whatever its thing is, and that will all get weeded out that way. I know the city of Logan put a moratorium, and part of the reason of that was because of their zoning, and their zoning not identifying or categorizing that particular use. And so they put a moratorium on it before they get a handle on that and see how they're gonna approach it. But I personally don't think any kind of moratorium on any new cabin rentals is the right thing to do.
Yeah, free market will take care of it.
Free market will take care of that, and I truly believe, this county is blessed, has been blessed for many years, to have a beauty to it. And we've got a tourism industry that unfortunately hasn't taken the place of all the manufacturing industry we had at one time, but it's something. And it's helped. I mean, there's communities who would kill for what we have here. And there's no effort or a motive of anybody to try to squash that, even though we get a lot of people saying you should. And,
The point I wanted to make, that you kind of alluded to, and going back to the market, one of the comments that Finn made in his,
Presentation.
when he wasn't present for his
The
presentation.
slideshow.
Yeah. By the way, I still want to ask him about 15 questions about data points for those. But one of the things he alluded to was, well, it's already down 30%, I think was the number that he said. And my initial reaction was, that's got nothing to do with this conversation. That's more, maybe we have met a market saturation. Maybe we're at the point where we can't get to 8 million visitors from 6 million visitors. Maybe that's it. As we keep adding capacity, we don't have people to fill that capacity, so everybody's gonna feel a drop in overall business. But again, that wasn't part of this presentation. It was, well, this is the fault of this conversation. And that conversation has nothing to do with the drop in demand. It has to do with, we now have 1,800 cabins instead of 1,200 cabins. And when you do that, if you don't bring up a commensurate number of guests,
Visitation.
you're gonna have a drop in overall business
Yeah.
at the cabin level. So, but again, that would be information that, to be completely fully transparent, that should be shared.
Where
Yeah.
are your all's data? Like, a lot of this is data driven from what you're saying. Like, I would like to see some of the data that you are using. You know what I mean? Like, where are the numbers, the guests and stuff? And like, I've seen a study that is basically one for every 6, there's 5 day trippers to a 1 overnighter. So that's just the data that I've seen.
HHTA has all that we done.
So where are you all, you're deriving data from, like, I think you all were using emergency services, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so like, where's that?
That's coming from our direct meetings with them.
Yeah, and you heard Jerry Mellinger's reference to 15%.
But,
15% of it.
I understand, but a lot of it is being positioned and framed that these are short-term rental owners' fault. You know what I mean? This is
No,
the
he
reason.
specifically said tourism in his comments.
But it-
Tourism.
But I'm saying, like, you don't differentiate between short-term rentals and tourists.
All of the conversations and responses that we had pertained not to private residences, but to short-term rentals. And they were strictly calls frantic from folks who didn't really know where they were and they were trying to serve. And that's, yeah, again, we had 6 countywide sessions. We had about 18 groups of stakeholders that came, that we held, that those were also public meetings that we held. I mean, we didn't start with, well, let's write up a draft here, and then let's see if we can meet and see if these things make sense. We started with nothing. We started with a blank piece of paper. We started with a survey that we sent out asking people. HHTA then did another survey. We started there. When we hired our consultant, we said, hey, we're not writing anything. You know what we thought when we started this? The answer would be zoning. And zoning is the most restrictive form of land use planning that you can have. What was identified to us was far less than that. And these were all things brought to us.
A lot of people don't see it that way.
I know they don't.
A lot of people look at it as, you know, when I looked at this the first time, I'm like, whoa, wait a minute.
Yeah, well, wait, there's a general distrust of government. And I can't say that I'm not part of those. I can say I have every confidence in the government here in Hocking County that I work in, when I see state and federal and things that have happened, not just last.
I say your best form of government is townships, and then you
We
trickle down from
probably,
there.
we probably,
You know, you
we
really
maybe
do.
probably shouldn't have got away from that, because that was the center of government for a lot of years, very early on.
Yeah.
The original constitution, it started out, and then came up,
Yeah,
and now we've certainly changed it to centralized.
Yeah. but I guess the point I want to make here, the big point I want to make here, we continually talk about a win-win situation. The win-win situation is not just between us and the short-term rental owners. It's between us, the general populace, the people who have businesses here, who profit from tourism, but it's also the first responders, the township trustees that see additional taxing of their resources. Some of the townships are doing very nicely because of the bed tax. Others aren't at all. Others can barely operate. So there's a lot of different players and parts to this. We get blamed from every side coming and going that we're in this person's camp, or we're in this group's camp, or we're just trying to make things difficult. Believe me, we never sat around in the office saying, I wonder if I could figure out some way to
Let's stick it to the game.
create more work for myself, you know?
Well, there are
Particularly
times, yeah,
gig, though.
I guess I should take that back. There are times.
I just, please want everybody to understand, we have done everything we have known to do to be as open and transparent. There is no motive, no agendas of any kind, other than what we've heard year on year on year. We are starting to grow and grow and grow. We see how it's affecting us positively and negatively. Don't you feel there needs to be some oversight? And when we have those meetings and we hear from first responders, hey, we've got problems. Who was the lady you talked to at a meeting in Columbus that said, boy, you guys got a mess down there?
But that's the thing, like, you have, I did the numbers, there's approximately at a 50% occupancy, you have 325,000 nights that are occupied in a year. How many incidents require sweeping legislation that's putting, you know what I mean, that's one of their concerns.
It only takes one.
Sweeping might be a stretch, but is one death worth not putting safety?
I'm not saying, I'm just saying.
Well,
Is one death,
One,
is one death?
You're not arguing.
It depends on the death, you have to admit. If the
What kind of road
the
you
guy's
guys
got
want to
20
argue about?
beers and he did it to himself.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
separate issue, separate issue.
But
But if he didn't have a beer and he was standing on the deck
Sure.
and the deck collapses,
Right. And we all know
That's
that
enough.
happened. That was a badly constructed deck
Yeah.
by broadbent.
that's a situation that's
but
already.
that happens around the country, we see it around.
I'm not saying, so yeah, it's a one-off and
We had a cabin burned down because,
Wildcat Hollow.
yeah, because they couldn't get to it. Thankfully, no one got killed in that. We did have an individual that died of a heart attack because they couldn't find it, they couldn't get to it. So those are all very real things.
And there's additional infrastructure problems, you know.
Oh,
stuff that- I mean,
additional.
just if you want to
Way
pick up the
beyond.
phone and it's like, okay, I can't even reach anybody here.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of things brought up in our meetings that
All things.
there was
are-
pushback on. And we said, okay, we're not gonna do it there.
Is that one of them,
What?
like communication, like at the short-term rentals?
No, one of them was property maintenance.
Yeah. Yeah.
People didn't want us telling them how they were gonna maintain their property, although that was a concern of many. That was one of the ones that did not score high on our conversation.
And that'll be a constant problem.
It will be.
Because their neighbor may have 25 junk cars.
Right.
Yeah.
What I don't wanna hear someday is when and to me, it's not a question of if, it's a question of when. Something catastrophic is gonna happen. I don't want it to be said, well, couldn't them guys done something about that? Couldn't they put some policy in place that may or may not have, helped prohibit or keep that from occurring?
Caleb, let me ask you a question. You mentioned data. If there's data that you feel like hasn't been supported, let us know, because only data that I've seen relates to the EMS, fire, that they've just given to us and we just quoted.
Yeah,
Well, and it's on percentages too, and it's on, what I've seen was non-resident versus resident.
Well, Jerry specifically referred to,
non-resident.
yeah, and the number for EMS relates to out of town. So it could be people on 33. It could be actions on 30. That's a fair point.
I mean, I think the last one I heard was 10.2% of EMA responses. So,
EMS,
EMA director, sorry.
EMS director. Yeah, but it's, EMA is Mark Edward.
Yeah,
That's,
I was listening to it on your all's commission meeting. It was like in July.
that was EMS,
That was the EMS.
Bobby Platts. So that's the ambulance service.
Correct.
I think on average over the last several years, that number's been 12 to 14%.
But what I'm getting at is, a lot of that is not short-term rental owners. You know,
I think it's fair to
short-term
say-
rental clientele.
I think it's fair to say that some
Sure,
of that is
absolutely.
not. I wouldn't say a lot
I
of that
wouldn't say
is
a
not.
lot either.
I would say some of that is not. And to date, they've not tracked it that way, but I know that the police department and the EMS is now tracking it that way, separate.
Where can
between
we get that?
separate vendors. Well, it's new, it's a new start. They haven't really tracked it historically that way.
Well, when you take a county that's less than 30,000 and you swell to 3 million, or whatever the number may be, things are gonna happen that wouldn't have happened otherwise. And they may be day trippers, they may be overnight guests, I don't know. My point is, jurisdictions have things in place. Much of what's been presented here are already in the National Fire Code. What I got from the Assistant Fire Chief were things that we're not, they're there, but they're not being looked at. And we need some mechanism in place, because if you're going to invite the general public into your place, they expect that. And I think they're doing that. And I think about, I hate bringing this up, it sounds like a broken record, but when I think about those little kids that got killed in Texas from that flood that come through. Now, that was a freak thing, but I also think about some bunkhouse somewhere where a bunch of kids get burned up in the basement in a bedroom because they can't get out. I do not want to see that happen. I want us to be proactive and not reactive.
How do you squash that? And this is a good question, I think, with communication to realtors, for example, because a house goes up for sale, it's got no deed restrictions.
Mhm.
They buy it, they don't know that it's happened, I'm sure, before in another jurisdiction somewhere else. But where they're buying a piece of real estate, it's got a home on it, they're gonna rent it, but they haven't seen anything, and the realtor doesn't know what to present them with during the purchase.
Yeah, well, I would hope once we have things in place that there will be
Somehow make it a
information packets.
requirement.
Yeah, that we would hand out, but
Yeah.
at their point of registration, they're gonna find out,
Right, which is after close.
which is
Yeah.
after the fact.
I agree with you. I think it ought to be.
There's a lot of collaboration.
Oh, yeah, every realtor should have one there, that should be,
Hopefully they're ethical enough that they present it to their
You'd be surprised.
prospective buyers.
well, we know
You know
there's a
that.
lot of non-disclosure
Yeah,
things
yeah.
that occur.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's gonna do for today. We're gonna take everything that you've got. We're gonna sit down with David. I was gonna call David. I think we had a better conversation amongst ourselves here.
I have others.
Go ahead. We
Restricting
do wanna
beds.
limit because of that
Restricting beds.
restricting beds.
There's,
Yeah, versus couches. We got
what,
that.
day beds.
Yeah, we got that.
That's all
state-
taken care of.
no state.
Landscaping.
I still feel that this only involves if you're building within 200 feet of a
If you're
cabin.
building,
If you're building within 200 feet, a new structure of the property line, if there's a neighbor there that you're gonna affect, I think it needs to be screened. And that could be with landscaping, that could be with mounding, that could be with
You mean
whatever.
something like arborvitae if you're doing natural?
Right.
That's it.
That's fair.
so
Because that was another complaint we heard.
A lot of complaints, honestly.
I wouldn't want a short-term rental like this.
That's what we keep hearing.
That's why we've kept
That was
hearing.
some kind of
We didn't,
crazy-
that's not another one we made up.
What's interesting, if you study this area, and I'm just gonna say this, but, everybody here may have used a VRBO or an Airbnb or whatever you wanna call it. In another city, I have. And it is very different. You usually, confined to a townhouse maybe. You're
Yeah.
talking wall to wall, not even
Yeah.
within 200
Yeah.
feet.
Yeah,
So this area is very different.
Yeah, it's-
Not being that-
yeah, it creates different
Yeah.
concerns. And, because I think people come down here and they expect to, they're coming down in
They
a,
want different from the city.
right.
Right.
I
And
don't
the
want to,
people who
they
live
want
here
open
expect
space.
different. That's
Yeah.
one of the reasons they live here. Gabe, thanks for working on behalf of the HHL. Thanks, others, for coming. I've seen your signs, sir, it's nice to meet you. Good
Yeah,
luck.
good luck to you.
Good luck,
When are we
next
gonna
week.
find out about grandfather? Because that's really where the bulk of,
Well, I
the
think,
bulk of issues are.
well, I think before we broach that subject, we need to figure out what we're gonna nail down here. And then we'll talk about more specifics about how the grandfather will work. I think.
And
So, are we, okay, and then let me ask you, next steps for us to contributions wise.
Well, I would still like a document, a single document from HHLOA, representative of HHLOA. Any other concerns that you have,
New
any new concerns that you have, not just
We
that.
haven't updated anything else
So
though.
maybe it will have to wait until
Yeah, you can wait until,
Yeah, I would
our
say,
next
you
draft.
I would
is out.
say let us do a redraft, and then we can make a specific request to you what we're looking for.
And we're looking for specifics. We're not just saying, you know.
And again, those are my words, Alex.
Well, yeah, well,
Those are
just
my
like
words.
just like the contact, you know, say if you don't think, if you think that's just totally a bad idea, or tell us if you think there's something that would be acceptable. It's just like it's like what and I had Veronica send this to me, and, you know, it's just like, for the local contact, it says a 24/7 local contact person must be available to respond to complaints within 1 hour. Does that work?
Well, okay, I mean, okay, I'll get that for you, no problem. But are you gonna be talking to Veronica also?
No.
Or,
No.
like, you see what I mean?
No, you see what I mean. Veronica sent it
We've
to
got
me.
Veronica contacting us, we've got Joe contacting us.
We got Joe sending this stuff on his own, Veronica sending this stuff on his own, all kinds of people that we were at your meetings.
We are
sending
three
stuff
different
on their own.
organizations, just like you said.
Right, you are three different organizations.
When I said it from me, as part of my thing, I'd assume that would have.
Who's the third? Who's the third?
Us.
HHLOA,
Yeah, Joe's
Realtors
group
Joe's group, who's the third?
and,
Realtors Association.
and Realtors
Realtors.
Association.
That's the girl from Langston, the woman from Langston.
I don't know where she's from.
The one who sat in the front row.
Veronica.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that we can definitely make some headway on it, but we gotta have something to work on.
Well, and we need to know specifics about what those are. I mean, I know there's been presented a ton of stuff, and a lot of it is repetitive, over and over the same things. And that's why it's hard to work through all those pieces of paper, as Michael said. You know, so we want to get to the meat of what the problems are. I don't think anything that we're asking for, things may need to be adjusted, but I don't think there's anything that we're asking for that's ridiculous to ask. It maybe needs to be defined better as to how it applies. But I don't see anything that we're asking for here that essentially doesn't go toward safety of those coming to stay here.
So we will
That's the key thing.
revise,
Safety of
we
all
will
these people.
revise and provide you an updated, we don't have a timeline for that, but when
No.
we have a timeline, we'll get it to you.
Please don't say there's a timeline. There's never been a timeline. We will get all this to David, and we'll go from there.
I'm okay with no timeline. Perfect,
you
fine.
guys make most of the edits as the committee or does Dave?
No, the consultant does.
We talked to them about.
We provide the consultant with the feedback that we've received.
And I was thinking about this when this originally came up a while ago, and I just figured I'd mention it today. Some of the feedback from people that have been here for a long time, 20 plus years, that have been doing this for 20 plus years, is the thought process as to why they weren't courted. And I'm not speaking on my behalf.
Why they weren't,
Courted to potentially form a committee that would have included their input instead of hiring an outside consultant. I don't want that to sound like,
because
you can have locals.
do you know how much blowback we would get from that?
I'm not saying just them. I'm saying we have locals in the room, we have, now, whether or not that can work, I don't know, and I understand the
But
consultant.
I think that's sort of what we've done already.
Well, and we just don't
Listen.
have the manpower to implement this. We need someone, right? Isn't that
Yeah.
part of the reason we hired.
We
them?
That's
hired
part of the conversation, and the reason I asked specifically about American Structure Point is not knowing and having people ask me, the question is, what are his designations? Where did this originally, meaning, let's say you take a lawyer, right? Plain vanilla document, sends it to him and says, look, we're gonna start with this. Whether or not he did that, I don't know, I'm just saying, these are
No, he
all
was
dispel anything.
very much, before he was hired, we knew we were gonna have stakeholder meetings, we knew we were gonna have public meetings across the county. We did not hire him we did not begin that until we hired him. Every meeting that we had, it was either he there, and they had a sub-consultant that recorded every thought and concern in the meeting. All that was gathered up, and all of that was summarized at the next meeting.
And I was at the first meeting when they introduced themselves.
Yeah,
When American Structure Point was there, so that's why, and a lot of people ask the same question I
Yeah.
just asked. It just hasn't particularly come out as who made the hiring decision. They still don't know.
oh, the
A lot-
county commissioners made the
I'm
hiring
sure he
decision.
doesn't either. but-
Yeah, hiring decision was made by the county commissioners,
Yeah,
but RFQs were sent out, they weren't the only person interviewed.
Right.
We did all of our interviews.
They were the only one that finished it, though.
They're the only ones, what?
They were the only ones that finished the proposal.
You mean submitted a response?
No, there was three.
Yeah, three.
According to the minutes, it says one.
There
There
were
were three that were interested and
There were
one
three
finished,
that were interested.
and one completed.
One completed all of the paperwork for the RFQ, right?
Okay. So how
We
many,
interviewed more than one.
according to the minutes, not so.
I'm not sure why that's particularly relevant. I
Just
just,
based on
I think
who's
you-
the expert.
process
you all
of
are-
selection, having three people in an interview, when, you know what I'm saying? It's, if you gotta have,
Well,
if you have a baseline of multiple people you're interviewing, then you should have.
but you had three interviews,
Yeah.
right?
we
It's
had,
before my time.
I'm talking about, yeah, I'm just trying to.
we had three interviews. We had, we sent 15 RFQs out. Only received interest from 3. We chose him because of his commitment to and moving the way we wanted to move, involving the public first and foremost.
And he's worked in Ohio.
He has 2 projects he's done in Ohio, Noble County and Ross County.
And that's when you brought up the.
Yeah.
He's not only an educated and has a bachelor's degree in planning, he's also he's a Juris Doctor, he's an attorney, a licensed attorney.
But those are valid concerns from people.
Concerns or?
What's
is
it
concern- What are they
concerned?
concerned about?
That the person documenting it is not considering the effects of the industry.
Well, I think ultimately it's up to us to.
I'm
But
not saying,
But don't you know, it's not just the industry that we're concerned with?
I'm well aware. Well aware.
So see, there's more
So
than
should
one
we just
player.
be concerned with the industry and nothing else? Is that what
You know,
you're trying to say?
I think those win-win proposals
The
are,
residents shouldn't be,
they're for the community as well. Like, I'm just telling you, like,
I've read your win-win.
What do you mean about that? I think that's fair
like,
to ask
let's
you, what do you
read the
mean by it when you
purpose.
say
The
that?
purpose of the ordinance promote public health, safety, welfare by regulating short-term rental owners in Hocking County,
That's one section.
okay?
That's just.
Wouldn't it be
short-term
better
rental.
to also include the desire to support short-term rental businesses, the owners and the economic activity that they produce, which benefits the entire county? I mean, there's also,
So you're saying we're ignoring that?
I'm just saying that's the purpose, and I believe that we could be considered in this. I mean, there's no other permitting going on within the county specifically. I mean,
Can I ask a question, and please, I don't, you know, I've been a little frustrated, and I'm sorry about that, Gabe.
I have to.
Where was HHLOA in March of 2023?
I don't know, I started watching this year.
Why so long?
I don't think many of them knew about it.
And, you know, I don't know what more we could have done.
Well,
I get
can I
very-
throw another thing out there?
Well, let
See,
me finish. I get very frustrated when I hear from your group saying, in this stack of things, why the rush? There's never been a rush. There's still not a rush.
And that goes back to the communication.
But then
Because
you
at the, not this past meeting, but the meeting before, you all said your goal was to bring it up, public hearing on the 15th and vote on it on the 30th,
That
which
was-
is today.
That
That was where everything stood. I asked him multiple times, are we voting on the 30th? I asked you multiple times. You all keep saying, we don't think so. We think we're far away. Like, there's nothing. I didn't know if we were coming in here for this to be voted on. I don't know what's even gonna happen today.
So we never knew your group existed until you contacted me. Believe me, we would have been in touch with you.
I wrote and
I think there's a mutual problem.
Yeah,
The problem is they didn't know you existed.
we did.
You guys, I served on their board for a little
Yeah.
while. I stopped because I was too busy.
Yeah,
And it's just a matter of, to dumb this down, marrying some ideas and making it so that it's beneficial
Right.
to everybody in the town as well as the people that are trying to operate within it.
And I wrote a letter to be part of this in May or June.
Let
And
me ask you a
emailed it to
question,
you
Gabe.
all.
Did anyone from HHLOA attend the meeting that was held for the stakeholders?
Yes, and it was the day before you went over results. Do you see? That's
When was that meeting?
the 25th or 26th of January.
Okay,
Oh, yeah, it was the largest attended meeting,
that wasn't the largest by far.
according to your all's.
No,
Okay.
the one at the theater?
Yeah.
No.
Most of those were poorly attended.
Yeah,
I was
the
at-
one in Laurelville was
Yeah.
by far and away the
The
largest.
largest.
Gibsonville was much larger than that.
But do you see what I mean? You do months worth of stakeholders meetings, and then you go over the results the day before you have the SDRs. And we had to ask, like, when is that? When is that? We asked about that multiple times.
so you're talking the day before what, the meeting a few weeks ago?
No, in January.
Okay.
So like, you're taking these results of all these other parties for months, November, December, and the 26th is the day that the results were reported. The 25th was the day, and I may be off a day or two, but I'm saying, it was the day before you all shared the results. So like, are you considering short-term rentals?
Let me just say on behalf of this group, and I think I was just getting involved at that
Yeah.
point, but, and I'm gonna go to your point, because I think it's true. I think has been not miscommunication, but not effective communication and not a vehicle to make that happen. That's the reason that I said in that meeting that we would get everything posted, so everybody anybody that wanted to have visibility to it. Now, you can't put it on this group that people weren't invited, because every means available was to try to invite as many people who want to be involved in the conversation. So, but again, that's not being critical either way. I'm just saying, we're learning how to communicate with each other. And I don't think we've solved it. I think we need to continue to focus on what's the best way for this group to communicate to your group, and to that group, and to that group, and to that group. We just need to continue to get more transparent. Not that there's ever been any attempt not to be transparent, but find better ways to be more transparent.
If you remember, Gabe, I think our very first phone conversation, when I ever first heard HHLOA was, aren't you guys part of the HHTA? Because they have been with us from the start. So to say we've excluded short-term rental owners is not true.
Well, I asked for representation on
So
this
did
zoning
they.
commission,
So did they.
and wrote a letter, so we would have been how much further along 5 months ago? You see what I'm saying? Like,
You think it's appropriate for someone in HHLOA to be on this committee?
I think somebody who
Commission
does,
to-
I think absolutely someone who does this for a living should be on that.
That's what for this.
Short-term rental.
On this
Well,
commission?
Absolutely. I don't think that that's too much to ask. You're making.
So that means we have to get somebody for impact fees, somebody for each one of those groups. We have to have somebody for every, that means that's the whole group of 5.
Do you see what I'm saying? I'm
Yeah,
just
we
trying to
agree.
say.
Well, you
But
can
this
see
is
what we're
their
saying.
concern. There should be representation on the industry that you mean to regulate as a representative at the table. You can say they have owners, I get that. Raise your hand. You got one owner.
No, we've got 3 owners.
Where they at?
John's
John
one. John's one.
Does he do that for a living and you were one?
Jim Kilparker.
How many meetings has he been to?
Jim's been to
This is very
most of
unusual
them.
for 2 of us to be
Yeah,
here.
yeah, for sure.
Where we're at with it.
First time I saw him was at our town hall.
So would you been happy with HHTA sitting on here?
Absolutely. I
Because
think
they
they should have
asked
a
us
seat.
on-
I think they should have a seat here.
I don't agree when there's only 5 allowed by ORC.
Down there.
I just feel like somebody should have been here representing
Well-
the industry. And I think we would have been, like, half of these problems would have already been addressed.
Your problems, not the other
I
problems.
think if I had, I can't speak on everybody's behalf here, but at least let me address this. A lot of the people, at least that I know that are doing this, that are on these text strings, and every minute that we're sitting here, who knows how long it's taking to get to where it is, right? They're good people. You know?
Oh, we agree.
They're, you know, I court personally my neighbors and ask them all the time, you need help, they need help.
Right,
I've given them, I helped out with moving
Right.
stuff, I've helped out wherever they need it. They know me personally. So depending upon who you talk to, you're gonna get a different answer.
that's the problem.
And that's the problem. I recognize that 100%. I think when he looks at this, the reason that all of a sudden it's like, gosh, who are all these places? Who are all these people? Why do we have to include all these people? Everybody's got a general concern, and it is going to affect them. And I'm not saying I'm not paranoid about what's going to happen in this. I want people safe. The truth is, I don't want anybody staying in this county that isn't going to treat the county with respect.
Right.
And so that, you know, and you don't know that about me. You don't know that about whoever
Right.
else is in
Right.
here.
Exactly.
We hope that all these operators have the same idea, and it's not just somebody that's gonna say, you know what, I'm gonna go throw 80 million, 100 million, whatever the number is. It's a big situation you're gonna run into that you can't control.
And I also want to say 80% of the people that I've talked to, owners, have been professional, reasonable,
Yeah.
and very positive conversations. So I'm confident that we can come to a solution that works. I really am.
Yeah.
Because I think most of the people that you're representing are reasonable people. And they're
For sure.
smart people, and they're
For sure.
professional people, and they do care about safety.
And they're logical.
And so I,
They understand
again, my
that.
suggestion is let us come with another draft. Look at that draft and then let's have another conversation. Because I
Absolutely.
think we can get to where we all want to get. And it truly can be a win-win-win. That third party being
Yeah.
the residents of Hocking County.
Yeah.
Because we have to consider that. Whether we're an elected official or we're not an elected official, we have to care about the neighbors.
I gotta get my kids.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll adjourn the meeting and.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
Okay.
And that's all that matters, there's only two.
Yeah. We appreciate you all coming and we will share this. and-
Thank you, everyone, for your input.
Thank you, no, appreciate listening to the conversation.
No, we appreciate you coming.
What's your name, sir?
Nathan Cronson,
What's your last name?
Krantz, it's Cronson.
Collins.
Yeah.
I've seen you before, I don't know. if
Yeah.
you've-
He's been at our meetings.
Yeah, I've known you for probably since 2012.
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
My wife's from the area. so.
Oh, is she? Okay.
Well, you know where College Prospects,
Uh-huh.
Tracy's her.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Gabe?
Yes.
Good seeing you.
Yeah. I'm sure it
Are
is.
you late for school pickup?
It'll be tight. I gotta go to small office.
Oh.
And
Got it.
then I have to go get them.
How old are your
Yeah.
kids? How old are your kids?